Hello and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is Patrick Knisley.
My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is David Howe.
And I'm Jordan Willis.
Yes!
Jordan Willis is in the house. What's up? Returning guest, Jordan Willis. It's a nice loud clap there, Jordan, for yourself.
Oh, thank you for clapping so loud for me. I appreciate it.
Third three-peat guest, Jordan Will.
That's right. This is not your third time on the podcast.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
exciting.
So, Jordan, you're here to talk with us today about the Animal Crossing Direct that happened on February 20th. Maybe not the Direct we wanted, but the Direct we got.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe it's the one we wanted.
I'll take any Direct at this point.
True.
I'm fiending.
Before we get into the news and stuff, which we will talk about, we got some like Xbox and PlayStation stuff we're going to talk about, and there's been some Nintendo tournament stuff that we're going to talk about. I think it's going to be a really interesting and varied news discussion. But before we get into that, a couple shout outs.
Yes.
Pokemon trainer Jeremy on Twitter was like, "Hey, where's the episode? Our last episode came out like a day late,
Right.
So it's nice when people are actually like regularly like watching for it on
That's
Wednesdays."
nice that people follow us on Twitter. I was unaware of that.
Our defense is our field test worked.
Yeah.
People want us. And we will continue delivering the content.
So thank you, Jeremy, for reaching out to us. Also on Twitter, Robert Segovia continued his discussion about NES being better than the Wii and the SNES, and said he was willing to die on that hill. So I said,
it's a big hill. You can die where you like.
I do have a bone to pick as well.
Where do you stand on this debate?
Okay, the NES, I don't really care. I was more about the handheld ones that got really glossed over.
Right. Well, you're a big handheld guy.
Yeah, dude. And okay, the Nintendo DS has a Game Boy Advance built into the system. How is it not better than the Game Boy Advance?
You're not wrong. Well, first of all, that was my personal list.
Fair. All right.
An objective personal list.
I think in our list, it's hard to take like backwards compatibility into the equation necessarily, because then it's like technically then the Wii should be the best of all of them since it plays pretty much everything. You know what I mean? Or at least up to that point.
But you can't put a cartridge into a Wii.
You can if you really believe in yourself. We'll table this and discuss it after the pod.
Right.
Yeah. But I'd love to do a whole handheld consoles episode at some
future
point.
episode.
Yeah. Exactly.
A whole episode about Tiger Electronics.
Yeah, exactly. Which is back, by the way.
I
Or
saw that.
Mr. Game & Watches?
Yeah,
at
you
Toy
get
Fair.
Sonic 3 for the Tiger Electronics.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, Kyle Baker on Facebook, in regards to our last episode on retro games, was pleased that we discussed the TurboGrafx 16. And when I say we, I mean Derek. And kind of reminisced about his experience of owning a TurboGrafx 16. So that's cool.
Yeah, he basically said that he got a TurboGrafx 16 and felt like the coolest kid on the block until he realized like he was the only one that owned one.
He couldn't find like used games or anything.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that story. That actually, I got quite a kick out of that one.
I have only played one game on TurboGrafx 16. That's Airzonk, which I mentioned last episode.
Right.
And it's the best game.
See, for me, it was Bomberman 93, but I played that on my Wii. So I don't know if it counts.
So thanks to everybody for listening. And if you're out there listening, send us a message. Tell us what you think, and we'll talk about it next week. Or leave a review or share the podcast with a friend. Yeah,
and if you have questions as well that you'd like for us to answer, like if you want to get our opinions on something, feel free to email that to us or leave it in a comment. We'd love to answer some of your questions at the end of the show.
Or if you want us to research some really cool idea, we'll spend some time researching it.
We are basically an empty vessel for our listenership. We'll do whatever you want us to do.
I have a hole in my heart. It's shaped like an NES.
So we will get into the news and rumors for the week. First up, Microsoft announced some of the specifications for the Xbox Series X. And most relevant, I mean, there's a lot of detail there. We can, if y'all want to get into all of it, but the
technical specs and stuff.
The most interesting part, and especially in regards to our discussion last week about backwards compatibility, is that they have something they're going to call smart delivery, where if you buy a game for your Xbox One that comes out sort of in that in-between period, that where it straddles, it's on both the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X, at least if it's a first-party game, or if the third-party developer, chooses to do this, that you can play it on both machines. You get like a digital sort of backwards compatibility where it will up-res the game or whatever the game is.
It basically gives you the remastered version for free.
Yes.
If you own the original.
And you going to talk about one of the games?
You go for it.
Yeah, I will. Cyberpunk.
Yes,
If you buy it for
it's a big
Xbox One X or Xbox One, you'll get it for Xbox Series X.
Yeah, so they're the first third-party company to announce that they will go with that program. So that's cool.
And so it is not a universal thing necessarily. I think that this, as I understand it, is up to the publishers or developers, whoever puts the game out, to decide if they want to make you buy a second copy.
Right.
I mean, obviously all first-party Microsoft games will have this built in.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of up to the developers. So, we'll have to see if someone like Rockstar or Take-Two is going to take advantage of this, since they historically have not.
Yeah, I also think it's really cool. I mean, they've been pushing backwards compatibility.
Right.
So it's like interesting to see this kind of go into the future. And then also, like, they had a really rocky start with the Xbox One. So I think this time around, they're trying to start really strong. And I think that's going to grab a new set of players that might not have bought this system on day one.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. I'm definitely more interested in the Series X now than I ever was in the Xbox One before it came out.
Same.
You're interested in that 12 teraflops?
Yeah, I'm interested in that
So
ray
many
tracing.
flops.
I'm interested in Game Pass, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, Game Pass is a really good deal.
Dude.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
and especially if, I end up building a PC down the line, like having a steady stream of free games for my PC as well would be really nice. One thing I wanted to say about this before we move on is that this kind of explains the statement that Microsoft made earlier about how there will be no Xbox Series X exclusive games for the first year or two of it being out. And I think that people were like, how could you possibly do that? Like, exclusives are what sell a system or whatever. But that's because they had this kind of ace up their sleeve, I think, of kind of they won't be exclusive, but you just buy whatever game you buy, you'll get that version, regardless of the system that you have. So I think it's a pretty unique and very good system. I wish people like Nintendo would adopt it.
Yeah, hopefully this pushes all the companies to forward. Like, sometimes Nintendo needs another company to force them to start doing more consumer friendly practices.
We still have 5 potential Wii U ports, so it's not going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately.
True. And then while we're talking about the next gen systems, there's a patent that Sony filed for what we presume is the DualShock 5 controller that shows that it has like a sensor in it that can potentially like measure your heart rate and how much you sweat, and gives some sort of feedback about your biometrics while you're playing. So and then the speculation is that could in a game the AI could react depending on how you are what your heart rate and stuff is.
You are,
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And make things easier or harder or whatever, and that's really fascinating.
Jordan, what do you got?
I don't care at all. That sounds so lame. I'm
It sounds
sorry.
pretty gimmicky.
Yeah, well, Nintendo, what was it, the heart rate monitor that they tried to do that whole thing, and whatever happened with that? Like,
Well,
I
that
don't
never
know.
came out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I mean, like, I don't know. I guess it could be cool, but I'd have to see it in action.
Totally.
I think that this is going to happen, just because, especially with the last generation of PlayStation, like, Sony has really wanted gimmicks in their controllers for some reason that nobody has used. Like, I think that like they're going to implement this and it's going to be like a big thing for their system, and then no one's going to use it. Like, no one uses the trackpad or the touchpad on the PS4 Pro controller or the PlayStation 4 controller. Nobody really uses the light on the controller. But I think it definitely makes sense that they're going to do it. I mean, they also, I don't know if you saw the patent for like the AI or the digital assistant that's going to be included with PS5. That's a patent that was put out there. There's going to be a microphone on the controller as well. And a lot of the things with that patent were like, you can like speak directly to the controller, and if it sees that you're having trouble with the game, the assistant can like lead you to microtransactions to like make that part easier for you.
Holy crap.
So it's like just this stuff with like the haptic feedback and the biometrics, like that's just kind of all coming into this weird package where they're just trying to scan your body the entire time while playing. That's what it seems to me anyway.
I also wonder if maybe they're trying to make another big push to VR, because there's going to be a PS5 VR. So that could be cool. That's the only thing I could think that I would get me interested, is if it reads your biometrics as you're playing in VR. That would be tight.
That actually is a really good point. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. And I feel like they definitely are doing a PSVR 2 for this. Yeah.
I can see the criticism that this will just increase the cost and may not be used by many games, but we can hope that, like, I would hope that things keep pushing forward in video games in more interesting ways to interact with a game. And so the same, like, well, I don't want those things. I just want the same controller, limits the future potential of ways that games could read your information. And I can, maybe it's too much to force it on everybody, but I mean, that's where I'm like, I counter with like, man, who knows what the potential for this could be.
This is just giving me flashbacks of like the built-in Connect with the Xbox One. I just feel like people aren't going to want that in their controllers.
Right. And they're going to be upset that it made their controllers cost a lot, like the Joy-Cons or something.
Yeah. I mean,
I can see both sides.
Unfortunately, we probably won't hear anything about this anytime soon, since Sony has backed out of PAX East. They backed out of GDC due to the coronavirus, and then they're also not going to be at E3.
Right.
So hopefully we get some sort of event from them soon, but who knows when that'll happen.
And to counter all this news, Nintendo announced a coral colored Switch Lite.
That means pink. By the
Not
way.
really. They actually announced it before a lot of this happened. But so the big Switch hardware is a pink Switch Lite coming out on April 3rd. So if you were waiting for that, there you go.
It's very cute.
This Switch is hot. This is a hot looking Switch. Yeah, I'm way into it.
Do you like the color? Not as cute as Animal Crossing one, though.
Yeah, I don't think it's as cute as the Animal Crossing one, but if I was going to get a Switch Lite, it would be in this color.
Green.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. I feel bad for the people that like little girls that probably got like a bright yellow Switch Lite, and now like 5 months later there's a pink one and they're like, God damn it. Like, why wasn't that out there when it released?
It's odd timing.
It's kind of weird that it wasn't there at release. Like, it seems like it fits so perfectly with the other colors.
Witcher 3 got a patch on the Switch, and one of the major, I mean, we can get into some of the other stuff too, because I think it makes the game look a little better. But one of the major things that's being lauded is cross saves with PC, and that's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
I actually might do this now, because I haven't talked about it on the show because I haven't gotten very far, but I barely started Witcher 3 on PC, and I'm like, ooh, that would actually make me maybe make some progress on this game.
Yeah.
I think a lot of PC Witcher owners are going to buy the Switch version now that they can go back and forth and take their game on the go.
But you have to buy the game twice.
Yes, and you have to have all the DLC on Steam or
Is that true?
Apparently,
Okay,
because
I didn't know
it's
that.
a definitive edition on Switch.
That makes
at least
sense.
that's what the articles I've read about it.
Well,
so.
fortunately, Steam sales happen all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
I feel that's the future of game saves.
I hope so.
For having games cross-platform.
And hopefully you buy one copy.
Oh, yeah,
and you can
yeah.
play it in multiple
Okay, well, that's
places.
maybe a little
Slow
bit
down,
too utopian.
Okay. Maybe you buy one Nintendo Switch, you get a Switch Lite.
I think if you've bought one game ever, you should own all games.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I'm sorry to jump on your comments there, but the future could be like being able to switch between different.
Just having like one profile, however that's stored with your saved data. So this could be Witcher, your game progression, or it can be customizations like on Rocket League, where you have your same cars, your same customizations on those vehicles across games.
Some games do that with customization, like Fortnite, for instance, is the same across mobile and PC and PS4 and Switch. And then also Divinity Original Sin 2, I think, was the first Switch game to allow you to straight up grab saves from Steam.
Yeah.
So this isn't unprecedented, but it kind of is for such a big release and such a talked about game.
And moving on then, Kunai, which we have talked a lot about on the podcast. We had one of the developers of that game on.
Benjamin de Jager.
and they got review bombed on Metacritic. And I thought it was fascinating. Why? Did y'all look into this or read the article?
I read the article. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because somebody wanted to pick a random game
Trolling.
and see if he could do it, and he did it.
Yeah.
To me, that's crazy. Like to just like throw a dart at a you know, like at a big list of games, and that's the one I'm going to review bomb.
Yeah.
Well, maybe because it was getting some positive critic reviews. He was like, I'm going to pick one that's like not super well known and they probably can't do anything about it, you know?
Right.
It's just kind of sad. Like,
it looked like it had been fixed now, but,
okay, good.
But it just was fascinating that one guy is just randomly does this, just one person.
And we talk about review bombing a lot, but this is the first time that like a friend of the show has been review bombed.
It's personal.
So yeah, it's like personal now.
Yeah, because Benjamin wrote that article on Kama Sutra.
Yeah. And I think ultimately, and I'm not trying to like paint a good light to review bombing, but like I know Kunai is an excellent game that has not been getting the attention it deserves. So hopefully that article goes somewhere, and this actually
That's true.
There is a silver lining to this that like hopefully now people are talking about it. But either way, it is like more than time for Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes and these other sites, even IMDb, to just do away with user reviews. They're completely unfounded. Anyone can fuck with them. The guy on Reddit basically outlined exactly how he did it. He's like, Metacritic just lets you sign up with 12 different email addresses and it never checks. You know what I mean? And he did it over the course of like an hour, you know, like totally like fucked their entire user score. So
yeah, I think there's a place for user reviews, but maybe like basing a huge score on it that's important, you know, that gets shared around is not it, right? Like it's filtering through them yourself or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you don't want critics to do your thinking for you, then you certainly shouldn't let random strangers on the internet do your thinking for you.
That's true.
That's all I'll say on the matter.
So we've talked a lot about Sabi, who is historically has been a Nintendo leaker. Well, they deleted their Twitter account and said that they are going to stop leaking Nintendo news or, you know, information about Nintendo. So that's really interesting because it obviously begs the question of why. We've talked about other leakers who have kind of gone away, like King Zell, and there's just been a lot of lawsuits about the Pokemon leak and some other, and that one Portuguese site,
F Nintendo,
great name, still
Great name.
And Wired, I'd encourage you, if you're out there and this piques your interest, Wired did an article about all of this stuff kind of happening, and maybe it's just coincidence, maybe it's not, but it's really interesting because I had not heard this, but in the Wired article, the leaker Zippo, who we've talked a little bit about, was kind of been a recent leaker, also claims, according to Wired, to be done leaking Nintendo information. So it makes you wonder if there's some reason that all this is happening at once. They're being very aggressive, maybe, about fighting leaks.
I mean, maybe they're just fed up and they're kicking ass and kicking people off the internet.
Right.
Or maybe they hit a little too close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
I think it could definitely be either. Because I think because I know Sabi like got in some hot water around E3 last year, and then but on top of that, it's like, I mean, almost all of these leakers are on Reset Era, right? And so it's like, I can see a situation in which there's just so much pressure just from Nintendo fans. You know what I mean? And it's like, you have to like, I'm sure it's a lot of work to keep up that
Absolutely.
quote unquote public image as a leaker. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's a point where you just want to throw in the towel and move on with your life. You know, maybe Sabi got a job. You know,
I think
it could be anything.
Sabi claims to be a journalist, a video game journalist on their Twitter, or used to, and it's gone now. But I mean, mostly it was about leaks. So maybe they're trying to focus on that, because I can't imagine a lot of respectable places want to use your information. Yeah. Also, as somebody who followed Sabi, I think you're onto something that might be part of it, because people would always be like, on any tweet they made, just commenting very negative stuff, or you were wrong about this, or whatever.
I can only be on Twitter for about 5 minutes before I want to blow my fucking brains out. So I totally get Sabi quitting Twitter.
I like Twitter, but
Not a fan, but also I hope maybe he's just right about Metroid. That's just my big dream.
I hope
because
so.
I really want a
that's
Metroid.
why they should have.
Yep. David, have you played Metroid 2 yet? Samus Returns?
I'll get you your copy back at some point.
All right,
soon.
tight.
Waiting for that Switch port.
All right.
I'm going to use that as a segue. Do you have that Minecraft Metroid in the news?
No, go share
Someone
it right now.
recreated Metroid Fusion over the course of 7 years in Minecraft.
What? I've not heard about this.
It's ridiculous.
7 years.
Is it like side scrolling? Is it
Yeah.
2D?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
It's-
really interesting.
It's like a pixel perfect rendition, and it looks just like you're watching a video of Metroid Fusion, and then it zooms out and you see the block architecture. You're like, dude, what?
That's crazy.
I got to check that out, man.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And then it zooms out even further, and you realize it's all in dreams.
Well, speaking of dreams, there's been a lot of people making Nintendo games in dreams, like Super Mario 64. There's like a really faithful recreation of that, and there's a nice 3D Donkey Kong.
A lot of Sonics
Yeah.
on there. Dreams
Yeah.
looks really cool. I might actually take the plunge on that.
And then you zoom out and you realize you're in a Dual Shock 5 patent.
You're in a black and white rendering. You're figure 8.
Okay. Next up, then, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition was ESRB rated.
Hell yeah. Everyone's pointing to me right now.
Yeah, so that means nothing, but it suggests that the game's coming soon. And we still don't know.
Everyone's thinking May.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But it's never more than like a few months out whenever that happens.
Yeah. So
That'll be the perfect time. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, please.
Because I'm hyped as fuck to play this game again. That'll be a few months after Final Fantasy VII Remake. So
That's true. Yeah.
a couple weeks to like relax, get another JRPG. That's
How
right.
many times have you beaten that game?
I have only played Xenoblade Chronicles once.
there you
Okay.
go.
Yeah, but I've also played Chronicles 2 and then X.
Word.
Yeah, and I talk about it a lot.
But you will be picking this up.
Of course. Yeah.
And we don't have a direct yet to announce when that's coming, but like I said, maybe May.
Maybe we'll get a Xenoblade Chronicles Direct.
That would be very upsetting to me, actually.
That would be fascinating if they just did a game specific direct like that. And then that's the big game we get
everyone
before
would be
E3.
pissed.
Yeah.
What if, like, at E3, they just do, like, an Animal Crossing update direct? And that's it.
Well, we don't have any Nintendo Direct, but Yacht Club Games is giving a presentation the day this podcast comes out. So we'll see if there's anything cool that's headed to the Switch. Probably something on that. Or is that
That's
to anybody
Shovel
here?
Knight's developer,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're done with Shovel Knight. Like they've said the last
big update was
yeah,
the last
that
one.
was it. So, and then they also did Shovel Knight, or the Showdown. So now I'm curious, like they have to be announcing a new game.
Well, I also saw an interview with Yacht Club where they said that they will keep making Shovel Knight games until they die.
But like maybe a new game. But you mean they're done with Shovel Knight
Like that
Proper,
game.
that
whatever
one?
they called the official.
The first one,
Right.
Yeah.
Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight premiere.
Well, then they have like Showdown, and so I'm just imagining they announced some sort of other spin-off game, or maybe they're like, fuck it, Shovel Knight 2, let's go.
Shovel Knight 64? Like a 3D like platformer version of it?
That would be dope. I
That'd be
would
tight.
play that. Yeah.
Sakurai does his column in Famitsu, and the one that just came out is where he's talking about the upcoming 6 DLC fighters and his work on that, and sort of the future. And in particular, he kind of talks about how he can't really work on directing any other game until this is all done. So, and then he also indicates that that's going to be it for the for Smash Brothers Ultimate. That'll be the last update. Or
Well,
the
he
last
said
fighters.
there are currently no more plans. Right.
Which obviously means they could change their minds, and part of me hopes they do, but they're like totally good if they don't, and it'll be great either way.
Yeah.
But I also think it's really funny. This is just a translation, but it says that so who knows what word he used in Japanese, but they're going to be extravagant additions is what the translator used for the version I
He
read.
also reiterated that all 6 of the new characters were chosen by Nintendo.
Yeah, so don't get mad at him.
Right. And that he gave his okay on all of them, but that they were all picked from Nintendo originally.
What you don't see in this column is when you zoom out, you're actually in dreams.
What if Sakurai was a dreams creation this whole time? That would fucking blow my life up. I think that so originally I was like, there need to be 100 characters in this Smash game because there had already been so many, we might as well get to 100.
Yeah.
At this point though, after reading this translation from this column, I think that these should absolutely be the last 6.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because, and the reason I say that is because Sakurai says like, I can't make any other games while I'm doing this, but I do this because I want you to be happy. You know what I mean? He's like, I focus all my attention on this because I want it to be the best it possibly can be. Sakurai either deserves a break, a retirement, or to go on to direct another game of his choosing.
I think
you know what I mean?
What's going to happen is the last thing because the guy doesn't seem to be able to take breaks.
Right.
But I totally get it because, you think, oh, you just have to add a character, but you've got to balance everything, and consider all the weird interactions that are going to happen with that new character. So it's probably a lot more work than you think than just dumping another character into the game. So.
The 35-minute live stream events take 6 months of planning by themselves.
You got to get batteries for all 4 controllers.
But yeah, I think Sakurai, no one will be, I mean, I'm sure some people will be, but I think everyone will understand if you call it at this point. And honestly, it will probably be very hard for him to do, but if there's a future Smash game, I think this would have been a great one for him to go out on. I'd love to see what other games he can make at this point.
And to see somebody else take the game somewhere a little bit different, maybe.
Yeah.
Because what do you do after this?
Exactly.
You got to do something.
Yep. Well, what do you think you would make next?
I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, what some of the other games that he's done? He was obviously the father of Kirby.
Yeah,
he created Kirby back in the day. He did Kirby's Air Ride was the last game that he worked on in the Kirby franchise. He did Kid Icarus, like you said. What was that puzzle game he made? Do you remember?
I don't know anything about
it. It wasn't Lumines, but it was one very similar to Lumines. But it wasn't similar to Lumines, but it reminds me of it. So I'd like to see him just come up with something brand new. I mean, I know a lot of people want Kid Icarus either port or sequel. And I'm sure he would want to do it. I think he has a lot of fondness for the character, but I'd like to see him do something new.
I would love to see a new Kirby's Dream Course.
Yeah. The golf game?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Everyone's crickets in this game. It's like, you want a golf game? Okay.
Sounds okay.
Hey, why don't you make your own version of Kirby's Dream Course in Dreams?
You got it.
Kirby's Dreams Course.
I'll take Kirby's Canvas course, the one where you have to draw the course. Yeah.
That one was dope.
Sure.
Yeah.
What if it's a Kirby game, but all of these games?
Yeah.
You zoom out.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So Frostbite 2020 happened, where there was a Smash tournament and MKLeo, the best Smash Ultimate player in the world, won. And what is kind of funny about that is he used Byleth in the very last match. MKLeo is actually a big Byleth fan. He on his streams and stuff, I watch him and he plays Byleth a lot and likes the character. And he pulled it out just at the very last second. He had Joker, which is his main, and then it just right before the match he switched to Byleth and then destroyed.
That's hilarious.
It's now you're just showing off.
He kind of is, but it was really entertaining.
Do you like Byleth, Jordan?
No opinion.
Gotcha.
Have not played Byleth.
Fair.
We got to get you in front of Byleth.
We'll see if he uses Byleth any time in the future. But also, sort of in another Nintendo tournament news, this was kind of cool. A 7-year-old girl won Pokemon Sword and Shield tournament, like a juniors tournament. I think she's from Singapore, maybe. I read this earlier, I forgot. But that was really adorable. So I think it went up to age 12. So it wasn't like she was beating adults. But the post interview with her was hilarious and adorable. Did anybody watch that?
No.
The guy's trying to ask questions you might ask after a tournament, so were you nervous? And she's like, I was nervous. Anything he said, she just kind of parroted it back. It was so cute.
Like a Rhythm Heaven game.
So that was nice. And in other sort of heartwarming Nintendo news, there was a 95-year-old woman in Japan who plays her Game Boy, and her Game Boy broke. And her daughter, who is like 70 years old, was trying to help her figure out what to do. Because, I mean, you know, a Game Boy, you can't just go to the store and buy another one. And like somebody else mentioned, oh, Nintendo has really good customer service. So they like shipped it to Nintendo to fix. And obviously Nintendo is like, sorry, we can't fix a Game Boy. But they found a new one somewhere, or a unused one, and they sent it to her. So that was really nice. With
like
a nice
an
note.
OG Game Boy, like unopened.
Yeah, they found it in their
that's
warehouse.
Probably expensive. Yeah.
With a nice note that they hope that she has a great long life or something like that. So,
Yeah.
so that was
now she's dead.
who's getting that Game Boy?
Goes up for auction. It's like $350 million.
So that wanted to use that to close out our news.
That is,
for
it's
the
nice to close out with some really nice heartfelt news.
So we're going to take a real quick break, and then we'll be back to talk about the Animal Crossing Direct. And we're back. And we're here to talk about the Animal Crossing Direct. Yeah, so on February 20th, there was almost a 30-minute long Animal Crossing Direct, giving us all sorts of details about Animal Crossing New Horizons, which has come out on March 20th. So just general thoughts. How did y'all feel watching it? Did you like it? Did you?
Jordan?
Didn't watch it. Don't care.
Moving on.
A little bit of background real quick to that joke that Jordan just made. Jordan and I used to live together, and I think the majority of the time that we lived together, whenever I would look over to Jordan, his head was down playing New Leaf on his 3DS.
Accurate. Also, I bought the 3DS to play New Leaf, which is not the game I thought would get me to buy a 3DS. But when it came out, I could not resist. And I was like, okay, fine. And then like 300 to 400 hours later, yep. But I had to cut it off.
Yeah. So you're not playing New Leaf anymore?
No.
Okay. Hey, you never know.
True. There are some diehard New Leaf fans with support, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But anyway, the Direct was great.
Yeah.
The Direct
it was awesome.
So well done that it made me less angry that it wasn't a general Direct. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And it was like, and I was a little bit on the fence about this game just because I historically have started Animal Crossing games, gotten a couple hours in, and then lost interest. But this Direct totally converted me. Yeah, I'm definitely down.
Yeah,
I haven't pre-ordered it yet.
This is a perfect Direct or any video game presentation where it is show, don't tell.
Yeah.
Where it shows you how the game works. It shows the mechanics and the gameplay and how it differentiates itself from other games, other games of the franchise. And it was chill as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it twice.
Do you think it showed the right amount of information, too much, too little, or any thoughts on that? Like, is there any, because sometimes you don't want to know too much about a game beforehand.
Perfect.
Yeah, because it felt like there's
I
still
agree.
some mystery, right?
Yep.
About how certain things are going to work.
Well, it was done in thirds, right? There was like the
Three parts.
3 parts. It wasn't exactly thirds, but the first part was basically everything we knew already, but like reiterating and like going more into detail about the kind of deserted island aspect of the game and kind of the early game. And then the second part was like, hey, this is what happens when you play this game for a long time. And that's when it really turns into like an old school Animal Crossing game, as it were, where you've got like a full town and buildings and houses and neighbors and all this kind of stuff. And so it was like, hey, so here's what you have to look forward to is like filling out that Animal Crossing experience after you've put down the time to kind of establish your island. And then the third part was like,
questions.
FAQs, basically, because a lot of people over the past month have been asking a lot of questions that haven't been answered. And I think they answered most of them with varying degrees of conclusion there.
Right. Yeah. I also think it did a really good job of balancing like casual Animal Crossing fans and hardcore Animal Crossing fans because it explained it enough. But if you're really watching, you notice a lot more little details. If you've played a lot of the games before, you're like, oh, wait, that's new. Oh, that's new. Whereas like if you're watching as a casual fan, you still are like really hyped for the game and seeing all the mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, maybe we can talk about some of the changes and the new things and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And Jordan, especially, you can help because I've never played any Animal Crossing game.
Either.
I'm looking at Matt because he's also not played it, right?
What?
So you're certainly the expert here.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I'm very excited about this game. I never had a 3DS or a GameCube, and I was there ever an Animal Crossing game in the West on anything else?
Yeah. There was Animal Crossing City Folk on the Wii.
On the Wii.
There was Animal Crossing
Amiibo.
What was the DS Animal Crossing called?
Wild World?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that
yeah.
that's the first DS, and then New Leaf
Right.
is the 3DS one.
Right. And then, of course, originally Animal Crossing was Animal Forest for the N64. That was only in Japan.
Only in Japan.
I
was
literally
ported
learned
over.
that like 3 days ago, and I was like, wait, there's a Nintendo 64 version of this game, and I looked it up, and it's like the exact same, but
Right.
just
It's the
shittier
game-
graphics.
Yeah,
It's the
basically.
GameCube one, basically, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they added a couple features, and then that released both in Japan and the US on the
Yeah.
GameCube. Yeah.
But the point being that I'm excited about this game. I think it's going to be really fun for me and my family to play. And watching this, it made me excited, but I don't know a lot about it. So some of this this stuff I've kind of heard on the internet is what's different. So obviously the deserted island aspect, right? Like instead of all the shops and things being there at the beginning or things being available, it's going to take a while to build up to that. And that seems cool.
That's cool. In the original or the other games too, it's like your shops maybe start and you don't have them all open all at once, or they slowly open, or they get bigger as the game goes on. So I don't think that's as different. What weirded me out about the island, they had this like feature where if you're lost, you can just like return home. I'm like, wait, how big is this island going to be?
It doesn't look that big. I mean,
That's what I
they
thought,
showed the
but-
maps at the beginning. It's like,
I wonder if that's when you're out exploring on other islands too.
no, I think it's just like an ease of use
just a-
for young players.
Quality of life.
Yeah.
Fair.
Also, if you noticed in that, the helicopter looks like Mr. Rossetti. So I feel
saw
like
that, yeah.
I think Mr. Rossetti, like, since there's no more like save scumming in this, and it has auto saves, so you don't need Mr. Rossetti. I think they've moved him into that position now.
Yeah, maybe it was a place to put him as
Yeah,
well.
essentially. Yeah.
I think this might be new. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the shop's being open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, that is so dope, because I used to play it super late at night, and you can't really do much if you're playing it like 2 a.m. You can like run around and do stuff on your island, but you can't shop, you can't customize anything. Like it just limits everything. So being open 24/7, I'm like, that's
The laid back island attitude, baby. Shotgun.
But it totally makes sense. So I mean, if you're out there listening, you probably know this, but Animal Crossing is in real time, right?
Yeah.
It's so like in the past games, if it was night, things would be closed.
Yep.
And yeah, if you're a person who works,
Yeah.
or like, and your only time to game is at night, then yeah, that's
like, I got 3 hours to buy and customize all this stuff I want to do. Oh no!
I mean, to Animal Crossing's credit, it is a game that is like kind of made to be played in like 15-minute spurts. You know, it's like go out there, collect some bells, make some purchases, upgrade your house, and then come back the next day or later in the day or something like that.
15 minutes? Oh,
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like made for people to like play on their breaks and shit. You know what I mean?
Another thing that seems to be a little bit different is the events seem to be updates, is the way they're referring to them. And so my understanding from listening to people talk about this is that this is kind of another or at least the speculation is another, like, that people used to do time travel where you set your Switch to a different date or something, or your 3DS or whatever. So that you can go back to the Halloween thing or jump ahead to things that you can't do that because it won't be there until they put it into the game on those days.
yeah.
So that's kind of an interesting change, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is just literally exactly what you said, just as a way to get people to do that. But the only thing that sucks is if you don't have access to an internet and like the new update goes live and you don't have access to it. So,
Or yeah, if you miss it and they take it out of the game and then you try to go back in time.
If like your mom is like, put that Switch away, it's Christmas, this is family time, but you're like, this is the only way I can get a Santa hat.
it also makes me wonder, can you only access the special events if you're connected to the internet? Or is it like, it's always going to be there no matter what?
That's a good question.
I would probably say internet.
Yeah,
it
me
seems
too.
that way.
the way they frame it as update, and they're like, the first update is coming on March 20th. It's like, that's the day they get. How could it be an update?
Well, I mean, there's
But,
lots of day one updates. We see
Yes.
that all the time, but it's like the Bunny Day update.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the Easter analogy. So I mean, that definitely makes me think this is going to be a way more online experience. much to potentially some users' chagrin, but I think that it'll probably be okay for most casual players.
Yeah.
Another really big change is just customization, right?
Yeah.
My understanding is you couldn't really pick a lot of where things ended up and paths and that kind of stuff in previous games. And you correct me if I'm wrong. But.
Oh, no. My favorite thing about the customization so far is like being able to see what it's going to look like. There was like you could kind of do it, but it was difficult, and there was the menu screen was really clunky. Mm-hmm. And this one, it looks like super clean. It's like, here's what it is. Here's your 10 customization options, and and it goes through, and you can see all the different ones. And you like
for like a piece of furniture or something.
Yeah, it's like super ease of use. Like it looks so much better. And then yeah, that's it.
And
that's
you can choose where shops go, which is maybe not always the case.
No, shops and stuff were always in one specific place. Also, it's nice to be able to pick where people have their houses or their tents, because that used to be like, dude, you just plopped on top of my flower garden, bro. Like, what the hell, man? Like, you just put your house on it. Like,
yeah, it's like you set up a place where someone potentially could move in, right? Yeah. It's like, this is where I'm going to zone for housing, essentially. You know what I mean? And then it's like, you have to kind of like fill that stuff. And then there's also a nice thing too, where it's like you can kind of pick and choose who moves to the island, it seems like, or it gives you enough heads up.
So you can invite certain people.
Right. So if you want to just be all by yourself, you can. It seems like they've just given a lot of power to you to really change everything up. And that's not even counting like the terraforming.
Yeah. And that's the big one too, right? Like you can knock down cliffs and make them flat, or you can get rid of land and make it water, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. It looked like it gives you a choice of like 4 different islands when you start, which is cool. But then you can just change it however you want at some point anyway. So that's cool too.
Yeah, I think that'll provide some really interesting islands that we're going to be able to see. And that's what I'm most excited about, because as a player, I enjoy the act of playing, but the design aspect, not always my strongest suit, but I love just going online and seeing other people's towns and other people's houses and what they're able to come up with. And so just giving all these players so many more options to do that, dude, I'm so stoked.
Yeah,
it's like Mario Maker 2. It's like they just give them all the options and see what they do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be
Somebody's
cool.
going to make like a huge lake in the middle of like just a tiny bit of land around
Someone's
it. Someone's
going to make the specs for the PS5 controller in Animal Crossing.
Oh, I was going to say another zoom out and it's dreams joke. But I think this game's going to be very streamer friendly. Because, especially with the kind of multiplayer options that they told, where it's like,
let's get into that.
You have your friends that are like your best friends, and then they're allowed to come to your island and actually make changes. Like if you trust your best friend with an axe, they can come in and potentially chop down any tree or do whatever the fuck they want. But you get to assign those people, right?
Yeah, so you can have people come.
Like you get these one-time use codes that you can then give to people that are like watching your stream, or if you wanted to stream going to someone else's island, where you don't have to worry about like that person wreaking havoc on, their like hard, fought creation, that they made over the course of God knows how long.
So let's talk about the co-op then. Sounds like online you can have up to 8 people come visit an island.
Is that true?
I believe so.
Because I thought it was up to 4 could visit from online and 8 people locally.
Maybe I have it backwards.
Am I wrong?
It's reverse.
Really?
I think it's 4 locally and 8
so
online.
Too.
Okay.
I believe so too.
I will go on the internet and check.
Because I've watched it twice now, and that still hasn't been 100% clear to me.
That was my understanding. Obviously, if we're wrong, Matt will correct us in a minute.
And I'm sure our listeners will as well.
Yeah, let us know. But either way, you can have up to a certain amount of people locally that share an island, and then get a bunch of people together to play online and visit each other's islands and potentially change them if you allow it and stuff like that. And that just seems like that's going to be a really fun community thing, to go and see somebody else's island, see what the weird stuff they've done. Or whatever.
Yeah, totally. And then I love anytime you just add more options to be able to play online and like have a community. It just makes it that much better. And on the 3DS, they kind of had it, and that was like the closest. But this just seems much more fluid and functional. However, the 4 players locally, if it is 4 players locally,
I think it's 8. I think it's 8 because there are 8 profiles on the Switch.
Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Nintendo explained that up to 8 Nintendo account holders can create a character or resident on a single Nintendo Switch console.
There you go.
Yep.
Up to 4 of those residents can play together on the same console at the same time, provided there are enough Joy-Cons. A second Switch or more Joy-Cons. Period. A second Switch and more Joy-Cons are required for the other 4 residents to participate simultaneously via local wireless or online play.
Gotcha. So it's 8 people. 8 people can share an island, but only 4 can be on it at the same time locally.
Right.
And then 8 people can be together using online services.
Okay.
And that's where it gets tricky because the 8 local and 4 local.
Right. Well, my question is if I'm sharing an island with like one of you guys, right?
I don't think you can.
So can you not? Can you just visit?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The island is tied to the Switch.
Right. Okay. So it's not like we'd all have one island that lives in the cloud and we all update it whenever we want.
Correct.
Okay.
The islands are all tied to the Switch, which we'll get into when we get into the backup stuff.
Yeah, right. For sure.
However, you could give someone best friend access to your island and they could always visit it, probably even when you're not there.
Right.
And check it out.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Can you do it when they're not there? I don't know.
It just doesn't make sense because then you like have their island on your Switch. So why is there only one island per Switch?
I don't know if they have to be on. They may have to be on 2. That's an interesting question I hadn't thought about.
Yeah. And I also have a question. So like Sasha has her own Switch and she's planning on getting her own copy of this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I have, I'm going to be getting a copy of this game and I have my own Switch. Like, she also has an account on my Switch and vice versa.
Yeah.
So like what's going to happen? Like, do you just make a new character, like a new villager or whatever, whenever you play on another person's Switch?
In Diablo, which I'm not saying it's going to be like this.
I bet it'll be exactly like Diablo every way.
But like if you want to play locally with somebody else in Diablo, they have to sign into their account.
Right.
And then they can use that character in either place. You know what I mean? Right. And I kind of wonder if it'll be like that.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, because it'd be cool if you could just go back and forth, but something about this cloud save stuff makes me think that might not be the case.
So there's some questions there. We'll see. We'll learn about.
4 players at the same time. It made it look like you all have to be on the same screen.
You do.
Right.
Which like, dude, that sounds like a headache. Like,
at least for the local play. I'll be curious if what happens with the online.
Nintendo, we need another direct to answer all these questions.
Online, I think you can go anywhere, whatever,
so.
But it's like locally 4 players. It looks like everyone's all on the same screen and has to stay there and hang out together.
It's kind of the same with like Mario Maker 2. It's like I always want to play Mario Maker 2 local on one TV, but it's just like not feasible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everybody's moving at different paces.
So one person is designated as the leader and they can kind of control where everybody goes.
Right.
I'm guessing it'll be kind of like Pokemon Let's Go, which I played with my son. And when there's a second character, if they wander off, they just kind of disappear and then reappear in the middle. Like if you try to go away, it just brings you back, you know?
That's better than like stopping the camera from moving if the leader is going out.
At least I hope that's what it'll happen.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I think that's the whole point of the leader. And then you can switch leaders. So I guess that part is good at least. But we'll see if that's as clunky as it might be or if it works fine, you know. I think it would be fine if it does drag them back for like somebody like playing with a younger person, you know, because they maybe aren't the best leader.
Yeah. They'll only chop down trees.
So we can move on to maybe just talking about some of the other elements of the game. And I mean, one of the big things I want to talk about too is the sort of phone app connectivity. This game is going to have some NSO, like, you know, the app on your actual physical phone outside of your Switch will connect with the game and have some interaction. You can voice chat that way and stuff, though I'm sure we won't use it for that. But what do y'all think about that? I think it's good that app gets used by games. I think the app sucks and we should not have everything should just be in game. But
what can you do in the app?
Well, it seems like one of the main things you can do is you are able to use the QR code reader on your phone to scan designs that you made in New Leaf or Happy Home Designer, to bring designs over from the old game into your new game.
These are like clothes designs.
Clothes. Yeah, like clothes. And, like clothes or pillows or bed sheets or whatever. You could design a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really good implementation, and that's really cool.
Well, that'll be really cool to see because you can, in the Switch Headz group, people can just be like, "Here's a QR code, scan, get this cool design."
Yeah,
and
it's
it'll
the
be
outline
great for
of a
the
dick.
internet.
Yeah.
It's just dick butt.
And then voice chat, and then I'm not sure what else. Is there?
There were a couple things that were shown, but
maybe we can get send each other those codes. Or
you can
something?
send each other. You can actually like message each other in the game. Like you can send each other texts without having to open up a menu on the TV and like select stuff. You can just text on your phone. And it'll pop up
instead of
in-game.
texting you normally,
Yeah.
I can text you through the game.
Basically, I think we should delete our Discord and only ever have online meetings in Animal Crossing.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
I get why you wouldn't put voice chat in Animal Crossing, a game made somewhat for children, but also grown men. But like, dude, it's 2020. Like, this is so lame.
Yeah.
Like, still dealing with this, having to have a separate thing on your phone.
That's a larger conversation we need to have
I
with
know.
Nintendo.
I'm just dude, come on, catch up.
There's also a sort of phone you have in the game, which has like a bunch of in-game usage.
A Nook phone.
Yeah, the Nook phone, which seems cool. There's a lot of like that it'll track and give you like sort of in-game rewards and stuff, like the whole miles system.
I think Nook Miles is a really, really good addition to this game because it's like basically like in a cell phone game when you have like sort of daily challenges or whatever, where it's like if you get tired of just playing the game to play the game, it then gives you little rewards for doing specific things around the island, and then you can cash that in for money. Or I think they said you can pay off the cost of your
flight
of the flight to get there and stuff like that using your Nook Miles, and then. That's separate from the mortgage that you would have to pay on a house. I believe. I think
You pay that in bells, not in miles.
Right,
yeah,
right,
okay.
right. And so,
cold hard cash.
But either way, it's like good to like gamify certain stuff, and it seems like it's not like once a week, but it's like every day you'll get new stuff, which is a really good idea.
Yeah, and it's like taking modern mechanics and implementing into this game and kind of pushing it forward, and it's like cool to have those daily objectives. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
What's the conversion rate from bells to Nook Miles?
We don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean that's Bernie Sanders will change that. I'll tell you.
Coronavirus is going to make it troublesome.
Also, it looked like maybe that's kind of a way to do some tutorial stuff, like or to like teach you how to fish and that kind of stuff. Like a way to kind of get you into that. I don't know, but
a little more hand-holdy for people that need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of the tutorial, I heard this on, I think IGN or somewhere where somebody has already had some hands-on time with the game, that the first day is like a tutorial day where it's not time synced to whatever time it is. It's like always going to be daytime, and it walks you through a bunch of stuff the first day, and then you get to sort of the real-time aspect of the game. So, I think we've talked a lot about a bunch of the stuff in the gameplay elements and stuff, unless there's anything else. Yeah.
Crafting, y'all.
Oh, sorry.
We haven't crafting is a huge part.
Cool.
That's another big new thing, right?
Yeah,
like, that's totally new this time around.
It's huge. It, honestly, have any of y'all played Stardew Valley?
A little bit. Yeah.
I have not. How much is the crafting kind of seemingly influenced?
It looks very similar,
right?
Not having played this game, but it looks very similar, right? You gather wood and you can then build a table or whatever,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what do you craft?
You craft all it looks like you can craft tools and you can craft, like furniture.
Yeah.
You can craft,
pretty much you can craft an ocarina.
Yeah,
like that was one of the things.
All kinds of items and things.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And it just adds another thing to do, because like another big thing, and kind of probably why when I dropped off New Leaf finally was because I was like, okay, I've pretty much done everything I feel like this game has to offer me, but like now adding this another like level of it is just gonna make me play it for that much longer.
Yeah,
and like even if you don't need to, I can grab that rock right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. It gives you another reason to go around and collect things. And it's like, and I think it's also something that is kind of required if you open it up to this, deserted island sort of scenario that they're doing with this game. It's like, yeah, it makes sense that you're going to have to craft things because there's not already a town where you can buy everything right off the bat. It's like you're going to have to kind of build like, one of the original settlers in Roanoke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can send those things to your friends too.
Yeah.
It looks
that's
like
nice.
so they're like you can send messages to people and send items along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm curious too. There's like two things. One that I already noticed from the phone app game that is in this one is you can put furniture outside,
Yeah.
which is not available in
Put
the previous
goddamn
ones.
dinosaur fossils outside.
Yeah, so you can like decorate the outside with the same stuff you could put in your house. It seems, which
Yeah.
is tight.
Yeah,
There's like
that's
even more
awesome.
customization.
Yeah.
In the phone game, one of the things I liked, I dropped off pretty quick on that one after
Pocket
like a
Camp,
month.
by the way, if you're
yeah,
not familiar.
Pocket Camp. Is they had an online like in a box that you could put your stuff up for sale to your friends. And so that would be really cool. Like you can have your own online market and you can set your price for what you want. So like, I don't know if it's going to be the same case in this one, but in all other games, you only have one fruit on your island. And so it's like, dude, I only got pears, but I need oranges. Like,
Right.
how do I get that? But being able to like offer it up to your friends, they can buy the fruit from your island and like vice versa, and trading that way.
Well, another way you can do that is there are like random islands that you can sail
Yeah.
to that aren't like, that are smaller and totally remote and like have their own kinds of like fauna and flora and all this different kind of stuff that you can harvest from there. Plus maybe random people that you could meet and then invite over to your island, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Something that I also liked from this direct that they showed is that they're seemingly bringing over all the customization, like quality of life changes that they made to Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, where like, and I know in a lot of the old games, like moving stuff around your house, it was like your actual character, like moving furniture, or like you couldn't necessarily customize as well as you wanted to. But it seems like they took all the functionality from that game, which was just about designing a home, and just completely implemented it into this game, which is a really good idea.
Yeah, it looks like you can move it around in 3 dimensions and
Yeah, it's
take
all like a
pictures of
cursor
yourself
and-
in it
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Y'all,
Go ahead.
no, you go.
Okay, I will go. No touchscreen support though. For like moving furniture in the little squares.
Is that
the
true?
house. Yes.
That would seem
Did
like
it say
would
that
be
in
nice.
the direct?
That's what it seemed.
Yeah.
Seemed like.
That's okay though, because now you'll have storage in your house, which was not a thing before. That is so
Right.
cool.
Yeah. Also, like your pocket has like 4 rows of now that you
Great.
can like put things in. It's
Carry a bench in your pocket.
like, yeah, you can carry it. Well, yeah.
Or a ladder.
Yeah, ladders are new. There's so much new shit in
I
this
know.
to talk about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's so much stuff, but maybe we can just quickly, because there's a couple of related things that weren't in the direct I want to talk about, but maybe like, do you want to talk about the visuals of the game or the
Sure.
music in the game?
I was
maybe?
actually just about
like,
to,
I think
yeah.
those are 2 elements we haven't discussed that might be worth mentioning. The game looks really nice.
The game is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think they've like, what's mind blowing to me is that like the graphics are like essentially the same, have been essentially the same since the N64. Like I was watching this and like, they like use the shovel to pull out a shell and then they like hold a shell and like push it up towards the camera. And I'm like, that's the exact animation from the N64 game. But for some reason, it just looks amazing in this game. Even though it's clearly the same animation, same keyframes and everything, like just the lighting, the wind, the weather, all this kind of stuff has just kind of culminated in a really beautiful game. And I don't think this has been a particularly beautiful looking series before, but this one really does look like it to me.
I think like for me, it was really funny. And the moment I noticed it was they have a close up of one of the beetles. And I was like, oh, that beetle looks so good.
Yeah. For me, it was the fish. I
Oh,
was like,
yeah,
that's
dude.
like a realistic looking fish.
Yeah.
We're all shaking and nodding our heads.
Yeah, that fish.
Yeah, that fish was fucking realistic.
It's like, I was going to eat it right there.
So yeah, it looks really nice, and the music is really chill. Is
incredible.
it different than the previous games in
Feels
any
the
ways,
same
or
to
does it
me.
feel the
Yeah,
same?
it's about the same. I mean, it's always been really chill music. And I don't necessarily always listen to the music because if you play it for long enough, you kind of want to listen to something else.
That's fair.
But it is always good. It's always
Yeah.
really chill. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like loungy
Yeah.
and like just, hey, relax. And I mean, Matt, we saw a panel at PAX South about cozy games. And it's like, and they were talking about all these different kinds of games, a lot of which were on the show floor at PAX South, but really they kept going back to like, we pretty much have like Animal Crossing to thank for like this whole genre of video games that's come about. And it's like the ultimate like relaxing game, and so it's nice to see that Nintendo has kept that up. And I mean, clearly it's worked out very, very well for them.
Yeah, and that's great because like there's Animal Crossing you can go explore, make new friends. There's nothing pressing that you really need to do. Nothing that like a call to action. You got to save a princess or defeat the boss.
Well, you do have to pay off your mortgage.
Right.
But you don't, right?
But you don't.
They did say you have debt, but you can pay it at your own pace, and there's no interest rates.
Yeah, no interest.
Yeah,
Which means there's no pressure.
Well, Tom Nook has interest, and it's called the baseball bat that he holds over his shoulder, and he knows you're going to pay it on time.
the interest is your fucking kneecaps.
Well, one thing that is kind of confusing is the cloud save/save data transfer stuff. So when the direct first went up, there was some fine print at the bottom when they were talking about this that said one recovery, like you're limited to one recovery from this sort of thing that they haven't really defined that will be a cloud save. And then they re-uploaded it and removed that, maybe because of the backlash, maybe because and then now it just says more information later. And also the idea of transferring your, if you got a new Switch, because it's tied to the Switch and not your user profile. So that's kind of been ambiguous too. There was a tweet about that they put out.
Yeah, I mean the Coral Switch Lite comes out like a week after Animal Crossing comes out. So if you started on a regular Switch and then you want to change to the Coral Switch, are you going to be able to move all your data over? Are you going to be able to move over your island?
So they said that they are planning to have some way to do that, but again, it's not clear what that will be or how that will work.
I mean, as long as it's out before the Switch Pro comes out,
it will be. I'll tell you, that's never going to happen.
Okay, let's keep it going.
Yeah. Matt, we worked the Switch Pro into this episode.
Yes. So there's still some questions around those things.
Yeah, and that's definitely still a controversial topic about this game. Yes. Understandably so, I think.
And then a couple other things that just came out since then. There's a tweet that they put out that said there's going to be 383 villagers, and that might just be at launch, or that might be, we don't know, maybe more will come later.
That's a shit ton, though.
That's a lot. They announced a guidebook, and then also the producer and the director of the game are going to be at GDC with hosting a panel there. So that's pretty cool.
Coronavirus allowing.
Yeah. They haven't backed out yet. And GDC, if you didn't know, they put up a lot of their panels on the internet, usually a lot later. Like some of the 2019 ones are still trickling onto their YouTube page, but eventually we'll all be able to watch that. And then there's going to be a demo of the game at PAX East, which we all were thinking Nintendo would announce like a direct and show what other games might be playable there, but it sounds like it's just going to be Animal Crossing in terms of new games.
Interesting, because it's a game that doesn't really demo well.
Yeah.
It's like a game you sink you do hours and years into potentially.
You do the tutorial as a demo and then you're like off.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll have a demo where you're further in. I don't know. That'll be interesting.
That would be cool if they had it to where like some of the buildings were already built. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, because it's like definitely if you're just playing the beginning part of it, unless it is really compelling exploring the island, which it might be. I don't know.
That might be actually fun to chop down all the trees and plan out
use
some
your
of that
pole
stuff.
to cross the river and whatnot. Yeah,
it's like, here, play this demo where you can do everything in Pocket Camp.
Yeah.
But I think that about does it for Animal Crossing, unless there's anything, final thoughts from anybody about the direct or the game.
Yeah, I just overall, the direct reminded me that like the Switch continually, every game series or most of them that come out is pushing Nintendo games into the future. So it's like we got Breath of the Wild with our open world formula. We got Super Mario Odyssey, and all the Mario games have like a gimmick, but Odyssey has like the ultimate gimmick where it's like, instead of having a couple ability suits or whatever, you can like be so many different things and so many different characters. And like Fire Emblem, it's like, you wanted one full story. How about 3 full stories?
And it's anime now.
Yeah. It's like the biggest Fire Emblem they've ever made. And so just seeing like this continue that trend is super exciting. And I'm very excited to play this next game.
And you thought 40 characters in a Smash Bros. Game was enough.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to have 85.
Exactly. The one thing I'll say to kind of wrap this up is I'm just very happy to see that Isabelle has moved from the public sector to the private sector and is now working for Tom Nook directly. You know what, girl? Get yours. Government doesn't pay what you deserve.
Cool. Well, on that note, we'll take a real quick break and then we'll come back and talk about the games we've been playing. I went and saw the Sonic movie with my son.
Hell yeah.
I
You made it
won't.
out.
We had a really great time. I won't get too into like that because I think y'all summed it up. If you want to hear about our thoughts on the Sonic movie, listen to our last episode. But we played a lot of Sonic Mania in anticipation of going to the movie.
That's one of my games too.
And my son got into it. It's a hard game for a kid though. Like, it's got the life system and the time. So like he can do the Green Hills just fine. But then when you get to some of the later levels, he would get upset and frustrated. And I'd be like, damn, it sucks that I can't just give you infinite lives or turn this timer off.
Well, everyone knows Sonic is for edgy tweens. Mario is for kids.
It's a hard game for an adult. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it
not
is
good at
hard.
Sonic.
Well, there's
It's
all
too fast. You gotta go
all the
too
different
fast.
paths and different ways you
Yeah.
can go. It's complicated.
It is. But he was actually okay at it. I think the ring system really helps though.
Yeah.
What did he think of the movie?
We had a good time. I mean, he was into it. He wanted to wear his blue pajamas and I was like, oh, you should put on your red shoes. And I was like, oh, I got to take a picture of you. I'm like, strike a Sonic pose. I didn't know what he was going to do because I said that. And then I'm like, I don't even know what that means. And then he started wagging his finger and I'm like, damn, that's smart.
That's really nice.
So that was cool.
Nailed it.
And then I've also been playing the DLC in Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Oh, okay.
So
The
that-
Cindered Saga?
Yeah, the Cindered Shadows. That came out on the 12th or so, and I've been playing that. And that is also hard. So like I played through my first playthrough on Fire Emblem on normal difficulty, and it was too easy. So I thought, oh, DLC, I'll try hard. And it just fucking was brutal. So I got on the internet, and I'm like, is this... I was like,
I've
is
heard
this
it's
hard?
hard. Yeah.
And it is. So I knocked it back to normal, and now I'm doing okay. But it still is like,
Well, they only give you one healer, right? And then if you lose your healer, you're just kind of fucked.
They give you a limited amount of characters, and also just the maps are harder. And they've like, I don't want to, I guess, spoiler alert, but there's a lot of like surprise stuff in the battles that you're not anticipating. So it's cool. It's actually really cool, but it really. I'm not that great at the game to be playing on hard. I was like, nope, not going to play on hard.
That's a pretty common theme though with like the Nintendo Switch DLCs, right? Like the Zelda DLC is a lot
It
tougher.
is a lot harder.
It's for the diehards
The
that like want more of the
Splatoon
game.
DLC, I bought that, and I'm like, damn, some of this is really fucking hard.
Yeah, for the diehards.
That's true.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's a good call. That's what I've been playing mostly. I mean, other stuff, but that's the new things.
Yeah, I'll go next. I also have been playing a little bit of Sonic Mania. I've been reading a book that you recommended called Console Wars. We'll talk about that in a future episode, about a third of the way through right now. But that plus the Sonic movie has really made me want to play more Sonic. So I was playing the Genesis collection that I have. I was playing Sonic 2.
Oh, nice.
And then I played some of Sonic Mania, and I got about I beat Sonic 2 and then got about halfway through Sonic Mania. I've already beaten it before, but that's a really great game. Sonic Mania is probably the best Sonic game ever made. I've got a lot of these, so I'll go fast. I bought some new tables for Pinball FX3.
What are the new ones?
Well, basically there was a sale recently. I had a lot of them already, but one of the ones that was on sale was like an old school Williams pinball collection. So I got like 3 pinball tables that are like kind of older Williams tables, and that was really fun. So I was playing some of that, and then that got me wanting to play Star Wars pinball as well. So I've been putting in quite a bit of time on pinball on my Switch, and I have a flip grip, so I've been playing that vertically. And then because I was playing with my flip grip, that made me want to play downwell. So I've been playing some downwell as well with the flip grip. And that's been a lot of fun. And then I started and completed, not that it takes a lot of time, What Remains of Edith Finch recently.
Talk to me, baby.
Yeah, from Matt's suggestion. That game is kind of a masterpiece. I think that game was absolutely blew me away. Like and I knew what I was getting into. I've played a few walking simulators before. I like the genre. I still really want to explore a walking simulator topic for an episode in the future, because there's a lot of them on the Switch now. But it's just the way they tell the story in that game is so well done. And it's like such a robust narrative that really makes you think. And like, as soon as I finished it, I went online and found like this hour-long YouTube video, like breaking down the game and like all the little like hidden story details that I missed. And it was great. And Matt, I don't know if you're still offering to buy every one of our listeners a copy of this game, but
Official statement, I am not.
it's a great game. It was on sale recently. I'm sure it'll go on sale again. I would definitely check it out.
You know something is good when you have to go like dig in deeper and like research it afterwards.
Yeah, it felt like a good show, like where you finish an episode and you want to watch like a YouTube breakdown or whatever. It very much felt like that. And like, yeah, and just if you're going to get into it, just know it's a 2-hour game. Like it is not long. You can replay it. There's a lot of stuff you'll find again if you play it a second time, because there's a lot of kind of hidden stuff that kind of you realize later on that becomes more clear the second time you play it. But man, gorgeous game and just a really great way to tell a story. I really enjoyed that game quite a bit.
David, I was going to circle back to pinball.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking up the Williams tables. That's part of that package. And one of them is No Good Gophers.
Oh, I didn't get that package.
Oh, you didn't get?
No.
That's a great book. That's a great.
Well, that
board.
was the most recent update, like, was not on sale. I just got one of them. Basically, whenever tables go on sale for Pinball FX3, I always pick up one. It's a real problem I have. I have like 60 pinball tables on my Switch. It's not sustainable. And then I'm going to go real fast here. The Doom games are on sale right now. Doom 1 and 2 are both $1.50 each. And Doom 3 is $3. So I picked up Doom 2 today, so I was playing a little bit of that. That game is harder than Doom 1. I'll tell you that. And then, other than that, I started playing Grease. Because, What Remains of Edith Finch kind of had me in the mood for like a slower paced kind of narrative artistic game. And I gotta say, maybe it's because I just beat Edith Finch, but Grease isn't really speaking to me right now. Like, I'll probably stick with it because, again, I think that's like a 3, maybe 4-hour game tops. But it's like, I don't know. Maybe I got to play it more, but it's not really my jam right now. I find it more kind of a little bit more like boring than anything else. I mean, maybe that's not the right word. I think like basically there's a lot of like I walk to the left because I'm like kind of, you know, primed to find like secrets and stuff like that in video games, and then there's nothing there, and then I just have to like walk slowly back to the right for like a minute and a half, and that's just not very fun to me right now. I think maybe the game will kind of become a little bit more engrossing as it goes, but as it stands right now, it's not what I expected it to be, and it's not really what I wanted it to be, but I'll check in next week. I'm sure I'll finish it this week and let you guys know how I'm feeling, but it is gorgeous, and it's got really good music. Yeah, so maybe it'll win me over, but those are the games that
I'll use that as a perfect segue because I also too began playing Grease.
Oh, really? What do you think about it?
I had the same reaction for probably the first hour of like, I don't understand this because it starts off and doesn't tell you what to do.
Right.
Not sure where to go, and all of the direction of the story is interpretation by the player, me. Mm-hmm. So I still have that same feeling too, coming from a game like Celeste, which like really spoke to me through its gameplay and through its narrative and story. I was expecting some kind of Celeste experience, and I haven't had that yet.
Right. Well, there's no dialogue in this game, it seems, whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. But I'm expecting that there to be maybe an internal dialogue that I'm having, that the game is having with me.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm still open to it and still seeking that in Greece.
How far into it are you?
I think I've unlocked 3 colors.
Yeah, I just unlocked my second color.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're probably about an hour in, and I'm maybe 40 minutes, something like that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Either way, I kind of games without dialogue can work really well. Like I love Journey. You know what I mean? Like Journey is, I think, a beautiful masterpiece of a game, and this I feel like is trying to be Journey, but not quite. It doesn't quite have the same impetus that Journey has. And I guess it doesn't really speak to me as much. Yeah.
I also think my experience playing Grease now also, the last 2 games that I've played is like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is like action and like fan service. And I'm like really geeking out. So my brain's expecting some kind of fast action. And it's really hard for me to slow down for it to experience a game like Grease.
The gameplay really is like a crawl.
Yeah. Is it maybe also like overhyped too? Or, you know, like it's been so, like I've had a friend of mine be like, you have to play Grease. It's amazing. And, you know, it's kind of like when somebody tells you a movie is the best movie ever. And then you go see it and you're like, it was all right.
Yeah. That's totally possible. Any other games?
Yeah, I've been playing another game. I've been playing The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. It's a VR game. And it's probably one of the best franchise games that I've played.
Really?
So it's exactly what you want from a Walking Dead game. You have a base camp, and then you go out into the world to scavenge. There's tons of zombies. There's rival factions. You go through houses and go through all the drawers, and then you bring all that stuff back, and then you like make weapons. And you're timed during the day because at night the zombie horde gets bigger and they get
walkers.
Sorry, you're right. Walkers. Some people call them walkers. Some call them deadites. I guess that's Evil Dead.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's like it took me like maybe 30 minutes to get into. But because it's VR, the sound is great, the gameplay is great, and you're so immersed in the experience of like, I got to get into the city really quick. I got to scavenge all the stuff because I have like no weapons. I have maybe a kitchen knife and a block of wood. And like there's a zombie behind me and I'm like scavenging through drawers trying to find like glue or like canned peaches or something like that. And then get back to my boat and get back to my camp. It's like, it's so good and the physics are great. And it takes all the good physics of Boneworks and other good VR games. And it's like the future of VRs. It's here. It's also very close.
Yeah. Still a long way to go. Jordan, do you have a chain game? We've chained so far into each other.
Did you also play Walking Dead?
No, I actually do have a chain game. I just finished Doom 2016.
Nice. Okay, we'll count it.
You know, chaining off the Doom. Yeah.
I still haven't beaten that one.
Dude, that game's so good.
Yeah.
I was not expecting a ton out of it, but I don't know why, because id has been killing it. And knowing that what that company has gone through over the past, like 20 years, more than 20 years now. It's just like, this is just such a legacy to like have to build upon. And that Doom game crushes it. It is exactly what you want out of a new Doom game. It moves just as fast, adds a bunch of like modern sensibilities, and is like, the design is great. The glory kills are like so over the top that it's like ridiculous to see.
Have you been playing on Switch?
No, actually, on that note, I got Xbox Game Pass.
Right.
They had this thing where like if you've never upgraded to Game Pass Ultimate, which is $15 a month, whatever you have left over on Xbox Live Gold will convert to that if you upgrade. And you can have up to 3 years in Xbox Live Gold, which is only $5 a month.
Right.
So I bought like 2.5, 3 years. So and then I upgraded, so it just converted all my $5 a month to the $15 a month package.
Nice.
And so now I have Xbox Game Pass through October 2022 or something like that.
So you're set.
So for
no more Nintendo games for you.
How much did that cost then?
Overall, so I already had some time, and I bought 2 years. Every year I bought gave me a free month, and then when the deal was pay $1 and you get 3 months for free. So I paid $121 and I got, what is that? 2 years plus 2 years and 5 months of Game Pass.
That's pretty great.
That's tight.
Like, that's such a deal, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I was so stoked on that. And so I played What Remains of Edith Finch based on your recommendation, listening to the podcast. Fantastic.
Yeah, such a
Outer
good
Wilds. Like, I just played a couple other games, but Doom was the most recent one off of Game Pass that I played.
Awesome.
Also been playing Apex Legends. I think I say that every time I come on, and I have like an ebb and flow, but like I'm like pretty in it at this point.
Yeah.
This season they made enough changes to where I was like, okay, cool. I'm in for like at least the remainder of this season.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple games I've tried, but I haven't really gotten into. Pathologic 2, which is a cool game, but is not really well optimized for Xbox. So I don't think I'm going to continue it because I'm just annoyed playing it and I just can't deal with it. But on Switch, I've been playing 2 games. I've been playing Swords of Ditto.
Oh, yeah. That's a cool game.
Yeah, it's like a top-down Zelda roguelike. Which I haven't actually got to the roguelike element because I'm still on my first run. Probably played about an hour of it so far. And it's really cool, though. It's really fun.
Really cool aesthetic in that game.
Dude, the art style is probably what keeps me going. It's like super cute, super well done, and like just really interesting. And they call like the weapons toys. So I'm just kind of curious to see where that game goes. I'm going to keep playing that. But then I've also been playing for the first time Okami HD.
Yes.
I got my partner in crime that game for Christmas. And so I was like, man, I got to try this game. I've never played it. And dude, I'm loving it.
It's a great game.
So good. I'm like probably, I would think 2/3 of the way through right now. I just got past the city, about to try to save a water dragon. trying not to spoil anything in the game for anyone, but that's about where I'm
There's
at.
a wonder egg in this game.
I'm like
Fuck this podcast.
like 30 hours in. I'm loving it, dude.
nice.
Capcom, I love that era of Capcom too, because it's also around the same time I think they were making some Zelda games for handheld. Like one of my favorite Zelda games is the Minish Cap. And so to see them take like the Zelda formula and like make their own thing of it is awesome.
Yeah,
Also,
you can. I mean, I think you're right. Like Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Like I feel like those definitely influenced that game.
totally. And it's like also the style of that game upreses to HD so well.
Oh, yeah.
Like that game still looks beautiful today, if not like even better than when it came out, which is not the case for a lot of games from the PS2 era. I think y'all had talked about that. I can't remember which episode, but it was just like talking about how PS2 graphics like look so muddy and gross and like bad now. That game looks amazing today still.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
Very good. Very good. That's a good amount of games.
Awesome. So I think that does it for the episode. Thanks, Jordan. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Did you have a good
Thank you,
time?
Jordan.
Yeah, a great time. Always.
Very good.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
you're welcome here anytime, unless we have another guest.
Oh man, Forthy.
Thanks to Corduroy for doing the music. Sorry to Chris McKeever, we didn't play Disney Zoom Zoom Festival. And then, if you want to find me, Patrick, on the internet, I am PDYX.
You can find me, Matthew, on Twitter. That's Matthew, MATHYOU.
I am at Monolith Fiji everywhere on the internet. And what about you, Jordan?
You can find me at Bordan, BOREDAN on Instagram. It's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else.
Hell yeah.
Mostly photography.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this episode. That was a really fun one. I had a really good time. I hope you guys did at home as well. Like we said at the top, if you have a question that you'd like us to answer on the podcast, please send us an email or a message on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, any of these social media handles that we have out there. And we'd be glad to answer your question on the podcast. If you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, we'll do that as well.
Especially if your name is Robert Segovia.
That's right. Yeah. Do you think we'll ever have him on the podcast? Probably not. Fuck that guy. Anyway,
Let's
no,
have
I'm just
him
kidding,
on.
Robert. I'm kidding.
Let's set him up.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. You can find our social handles for our podcast. We're at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook, at Switch Headz on Twitter, which apparently people follow us on that. That's awesome. Next week, we'll be talking about the Nintendo Direct. I'm saying it right now so that it happens.
I think that ship has sailed.
I think it's not gonna
Tuesday
happen.
night.
The secret method.
Either way, we'll have a great show for you next week. We love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.